Yo, what's going on, man? Welcome to another edition of the Players Ball Podcast, where we cover all sports far and wide. I'm your host, ROddy. Go ahead and give us a follow on Twitter at the Players Ball One, as well as on Instagram at the Players Ball Podcast. Then always go ahead and give me a follow at ROddy404 on both platforms. Thank y'all so much for your patience. Obviously, we had a week off last week, but we're back. Got a lot of things to talk about in the, I guess, AFC. There's a team that, just demanded our attention, okay? If you watch the scoreboard and we're scrolling through, whatever app you choose to use to check scores and stats, there was a glaring number that was on that stat list, okay? And we thought no better than to get our guy back in the building for a fifth time on the show, all right? It's our boy, Kyle, in the building. Brother, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good. He was smiling even in the backstage of the broadcast. I mean, you can see his wisdom teeth. But let's just go and see what you were up to this past Sunday. Let's all watch for the people. I mean, my son jumped in the crowd like he was Ron Artest, but not to beat people up, of course. I mean, Broncos fans, come on, man. Dude's in the crowd, all right? That's crazy, all right? Now, that was one of the 10 touchdowns that the Dolphins scored on Sunday against the Broncos of Denver, okay? I was very happy personally. As you know, I'm a Saints fan. So anything that causes Sean Payton to have a lot of stress and dismay obviously brings me joy within my heart. But before we get started on the questions, Kyle, I wanted to hit you with a couple of stats that might make you smile even more, okay? That same Sean Payton said that Teddy Bridgewater might replace Tua last year, which was a little bit of a jinx, okay? It wasn't, I don't think he said it as in Teddy Bridgewater is going to replace Tua because he's better than him. It was more Teddy Bridgewater is going to replace Tua because he's not good enough, okay? But last Sunday, like I said, the Jets have 42 points all season, Kyle, okay? The Patriots have 52 points all season. No team in the NFC South has scored 70 points all season. And per PFF, the 5 fastest times with a player running with the ball, 3 of those players are Dolphins players, okay? Yeah. So this is just a total ass whooping of the highest order. So my first question would have to be, how does it feel to have the best offense in the NFL? I don't think it would be particularly close right now.
No, it's not close. It's not close. And I can say that with confidence, and I'm happy to say that. Like, for the first time in my life, like, it feels like we have the best offense in the NFL. And we do. We have the fastest offense. We have the best skill players. Like, it's not close right anymore. Last year, you can make the case that it was close, like in Cincinnati and in Minnesota, but now it's not close. It's not close. We have the best offense in the NFL. We have the fastest offense in the NFL. We have the most efficient offense in the NFL. Like, it's not close. And I'm proud to say that. Obviously, I'm smiling so fucking much because I'm happy as shit.
Yeah, bro, trust me. And we'll get into more of down the line in the future of how y'all can sustain this a little bit later in the show. But you mentioned the Minnesota Vikings. They have, I think they have the passing leader and the receiving yards leader. And again, they have not scored 70 points the entire season, and they've had some high scoring totals over the season. So I'm excited to see the diversity of the offense. I mean, if you haven't seen Tua's no-look pass, okay, go get that. Go look that up, because that's just some of the stuff that not only makes this offense, like you said, so efficient, but fun to watch, okay? And usually if a team's getting beat by 50 points, you don't want to watch it because there's really no point to, who's going to win. But just the play design and the diversity of the play design, I think, is what makes me so excited. And again, it's coming from the Kyle Shanahan system where you don't need these high value running backs. You know, I know that doesn't make the greatest case for y'all getting paid. Sorry, running backs.
Yeah.
But guys like guys like A-Chan, which he said today, that's what he wants us to call him. So A-Chan. I I don't know how y'all were allowed to get these guys. I mean, how do you feel about A-Chan, a guy who at Texas A&M, you know, obviously I'm an SEC guy. You're an SEC guy too. He was really, really good at Texas A&M on a trash team. So how impressed have you been with him as well going into this season?
He has obviously exceeded my expectations. Like I was kind of iffy on the pick when we took him because I was really high on Darnell Washington, especially since we lost Gesicki to the Patriots. So I was like, we really need a tight end. And I wasn't really keen on taking a running back at that point, but it's really paid off. I mean, he's fantastic. And a lot of people were trying to convince me that, you know, the speed was the most important thing in the running back because I didn't like his size. I'm a big Derrick Henry fan. I think you need a big bruiser back, and I really wanted Najee too. So it was a combination of like, is he big enough? Do we need the speed at that position for real? So he's exceeded my expectations. In that game, I don't expect him to keep doing that, but I think that's just a taste of what he can do in the long run for not only this franchise but for the game of football. Like I think he adds to that excitement. Like you said, it's super fun, and he makes our offense really fun now. So, in addition to the other players that we have,
yeah, for sure. And I think I want to go to the two guys who have obviously been the stars of the show for the last 2 years for y'all. It's been Tyreek and it's been Tua. Tyreek is on pace to get that 2K that he's so badly wanted for his entire career. I think it's very possible for him to get that. But also Tua is getting the ball out, as I think he's in the top 3 of quarterbacks and getting the ball out. And obviously we'll talk about health a little later in the show as well. But if today was the end of the NFL season and you had to give an MVP award based off of who had the best performance out of these two guys, who would you give it to, Tyreek or Tua?
I'd give it to Tua for sure.
Okay.
I think he's earned it in a sense of just like how much he's battled and had to deal with so much adversity. And I think it's obvious from like even just not even this year, but past seasons, our offense and team is just not the same when he's not on the field. We can have the same people out there except for him, and the offense looks completely different. He changes how we play our game of football. He changes how we run our offense. He changes how plays are called. He changed how coaching is done. So it's just, you have, in my opinion, you have to give it to him. He is our literal most valuable player right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely agree. And I think what, you know, I'm most excited about for you is the accuracy is still there. You know, there are not many erratic throws or, you know, throws that are just all over the place or whatever. I read also stat that I think he's thrown 101 or 102 passes this season, and 72 of them have been complete through 3 games, which it speaks to the accuracy, and it speaks to, you know, just him staying consistent. And I was having a conversation with one of my homies today who was trying to say that, you know, essentially Brock Purdy on the 49ers and Tua have the same responsibility. But my point was, look, you're not going to have a guy that's accurate. Yes, does Tua have the better weapons? I feel like he does. Yeah. But you got to complete passes. I mean, there are some passes that Brock Purdy has, even in the Thursday game that they played last week, where they're 50-50. It could have been an interception. It could have been a completion. And I don't think Tua is going to put you in that level of danger at all. So health is the only question.
I think so on the accuracy part, I think, because I go back and watch the tape sometimes just to see what's going on. There are definitely passes where he'll pump fake it, and you can tell that's damn, I want to force that ball in there so bad. And then he'll pull it back and then just shoot it once the wide receiver gets open. But he does have those moments where it's like he'll dart some bullshit in there and it'll work out, but he'll come back and be like, all right, I tried some shit. Let me cool down. Let me just be efficient and be, perfect instead of just trying to force shit. So I'll say that's a lot of that comes from him learning how to control himself in passing. Like he's not out there just trying to make a play now. He's trying to be efficient. He's trying to make sure that the plays that he's in matter. So I think that's the biggest thing.
Okay, yeah, for sure. I would agree with you. And in terms of Tua, I would ask a follow-up of what is something that you want to see him improve a little bit more on. It's hard to find a lot of flaws, like we were just saying, but what's something that you are saying, well, he could be a little bit better at this?
I think his arm strength isn't a concern. It's getting the ball further faster. So like he'll hold on to it a bit longer just to let that route develop. He won't lead a receiver there. So that's where I think he could work on for sure. Like the ball gets there and it gets there good, but it's not like Tyreek's not pulling away from somebody to go get that ball. And I think that's what he should be doing. I like the idea of him getting separation while the ball is in the air so that when it gets there, you don't have to worry about anything. Because we saw, I think maybe like week 2, there were a few balls where it's like, all right, it's there, but so is the DB. Like I would rather we get away from that a little bit. And I know that's hard. Like that's difficult for a quarterback to do. Like not everybody can do it, but I feel like he can. I feel like he could if that's something he worked on. And like we're at the point where he's pretty much gotten better in every phase of the quarterback position at this point. So obviously you can always get better, but I mean, damn, I feel like I'm being nitpicky asking him to do more.
Yeah. And I mean, that's good. That's where you want to be in a position as a fan. Like you want to nitpick. You want to say, how can we make this perfect and not have those glaring issues? So I hope that he improves on everything. I mean, I think, part of week 2, what you mentioned was kind of Christian Gonzalez, which he looks like one of the best cornerbacks in the league, not just rookies. He's one of the best cornerbacks in the league. And Jalen Carter is playing here at the time of this recording. So we'll see if he makes some noise, today. But if I had to give the award out today, I would have to give it to the kid. I mean, the footwork is just insane. Insane.
Yeah.
So I want to get to one of the more irritating questions, I guess, for you, which would be Tua's health. Okay. If you look at the stats from last year and this year through the first 3 games, they're basically identical. Okay. No, they didn't have that 70-point victory last year, but they're pretty much the identical stats that he had last year. So what is your concern level with his health? We had a lot of talk about him learning how to fall in the offseason, things like that. So do you get irritated by that, or, is that something that you still have a couple of nerves about?
I think before the season started, it was irritating because it's like you're not really giving him a chance to show you that he can stay healthy. And it's like that has been a problem. Like he hasn't really shown anybody that he can stay healthy. But it's like you shouldn't discount that before the season starts, So it was irritating in that aspect. But I think I kind of get it now that we haven't really been challenged against any D lines. I was like, I didn't like our offensive line has played perfect so far. So I'm not going to say anything. I can't say anything against them right now. But I don't feel like they've been in a position where we have to see him get hit a lot anymore. And that's granted, it's only 3 weeks. So it's like, there's 14 more weeks we got to get through before we're done here. So it's like, I am concerned that at some point he might get hit and it's going to be like, oh my God, I have to watch him every snap because what if this is it? What if this is the play that does it? But that's the case with every quarterback. It's not even just the concussion aspect. It can be anything. It could be a shoulder. It can be an elbow. It can be an ankle. It could be anything. So it's like, I don't want me or anybody else to be like, oh yeah, he's injury prone, because there's no such thing as injury prone when there can be any single injury. It could be anything. So I think the conversation needs to be stopped. I think we can stop focusing on whether or not he stays healthy, because we can just watch him and have fun. Like, that's what we need to do up until we get to that point. If and I hope to God there isn't a point where he does get hurt, then you have that conversation. But there's no point in talking about it right now. Just enjoy the football. Like, this is elite levels of play we're watching here week to week. Enjoy it. That should be the biggest thing.
Yeah, I definitely would agree with you there. And I think optics is the word that I would use. You know, seeing the fencing response that he had when he had his first concussion makes it look a lot worse. I mean, we had Jimmy Garoppolo go into concussion protocol on Monday morning after he finished the entire game. And, you know, a concussion to a concussion. It's just what it looks like. Now, I know some of you may think that Jimmy Garoppolo, based off of his play on Sunday night, was already brain dead. Okay. But I really do think that if it looks bad, people are going to over dramatize it. People are going to worry a little bit more. And like you said, it until it happens, you gotta just ride with the positive. And you know, the people who are worried about that kind of sound like haters. I mean,
They are haters. They are haters. And I'll say him learning how to fall, I think, goes a long way in terms of just him showing you how dedicated he is to staying in the game of football. Like, the kid loves this game. He loves playing this game. He loves learning this game. Just give him that. Focus on that. You know, let's not be so negative and just itching to see when he gets hurt. Just focus on the good stuff. Focus on the fun. Like, let's go out there and watch some football, man.
Yeah, people don't like to have fun, bro. You already know. So, I mean, the haters are going to come either way. So hopefully my guy can stay healthy. Obviously, you know that I am going through my own quarterback situation in his health. Actually, I've been going through it for the last 5 years. But it's okay. I'm happy for you, my guy. You definitely deserve it. Dolphins haven't started 3-0 since 01-02, bro. Which is, I mean, that's 22 years. Like, so be optimistic. Be glad, Dolphins fans. Don't be caught up in ESPN saying, you know, well, is he gonna stay healthy? Those are talking points for TV, y'all. Okay? Don't get too fearful. All right. But before we get out of here, I did want to ask you about this week coming up. I wish that these primetime games started the ability to flex them like this week, because nobody wants to see the Chiefs go to the Jets and to really dismantle them. Why would you want to see that this week? But they're in Buffalo. Buffalo has looked good ever since the little meltdown that they had in week 1. I took the Commanders on the spread, and Sam Howell threw 4 interceptions. So I'm not happy about that. But in terms of this matchup, divisional matchup, play them really well each time, played in the playoffs as well. So how do you feel about this game going into it?
I'm excited for it, like really excited. I think we're either going to be super good through the air or super good on the ground. I don't think it'll be both. And that just comes from having watched our games against the Bills year to year. It's usually either one or the other, or we play terrible. So I think we're in a good spot to make it a good game again. Like last year was a super fun game in the snow. And we played really well up until, the fourth quarter, I think. But this year we're playing them early, and then we don't have to deal with any of the weather. Yeah, we're not playing at home, but I mean, that's okay. We've got some super good running backs. We've got amazing wide receivers. We've got the best quarterback in the league. So I think we're going to be okay. My only concern is Josh Allen deciding to be a good quarterback this week and like not throwing interceptions again, because that could really be helpful if he decides to give us a burger. So I'm super excited about it. I think I can give you a score prediction. I can give you a score prediction on what
Go
I think.
ahead, for sure.
I think I'm looking at 35-21 Dolphins, obviously. I think it'll come down to the fourth quarter again. but I think maybe a defensive tutty. I'll get one from the defense, and I think we get 2 on the ground. And then if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but we'll see. We'll see what else happens with it. We'll see how the score plays out for real. But I think we have a good chance to get 1 on defense for sure, and I definitely think we can get 2 on the ground. Where the other one comes from, I don't know, but we'll see.
Yeah, for sure. And I think in this matchup specifically, I mean, I've been watching the Bills over the first 3 weeks, and they're still leaving a little bit to be desired. James Cook, Georgia Bulldogs, has came through and really shown to not totally fix the running issue that they've had, but he's been a breath of fresh air. They're able to run the ball and move the ball consistently. But like you said, it's really just Josh holding the team back. He's had, again, the most turnovers in the league from the quarterback position since he has came in the league, and that is what has held them back this entire time. So hopefully we are able to see him be competent, but I truly think that the Dolphins are just going to have too much. The Bills secondary hasn't really been impressive. It's been very shaky. The linebackers are okay. The line is all right. But there's nothing special about this defense that I felt like I could see in the previous 2 years. And is there any status update on Waddle? I know he was in concussion protocol, but is he expected to play?
There's nothing yet. I don't think he does play, but we'll see what it looks like Thursday, I think, is when they have to decide. So we'll see. I mean, it's concussion protocol, so it's really just like any day could be a bad day, and they could decide not to play him just to be safe. And it would make sense. I mean, look at how we did when we didn't have him. So it's like I think you want him there, but you don't need him there this week. If it's not possible, that's okay. So I'm not too worried about it. If he's there, he's there. If not, we'll do what we have to do regardless.
Yeah, I feel you. I agree. Well, hopefully it is a dub for you, my boy. I'm hoping so, and we're hoping health on Tua, the whole team, and hopefully y'all can see the Saints in the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that's the ideal situation, but for real. But I definitely want to thank you for joining me again, my brother. Please tell the people where they can find you.
You can find me on Twitter at KAW1_ and on Instagram at KyleWVLKER.
For sure. And make sure to follow Kyle and then us at the Players Ball 1 on Twitter, at the Players Ball Podcast on Instagram, and then ROddy 404 on both platforms. We'll be back at y'all on Thursday with a little preview, a little college football preview, a lot of things, man. We'll hit y'all with a lot of stuff on Thursday, but until then, man, we'll holla at y'all later, man. Peace.